Okay, a very good afternoon to everybody here. Thank you very much once again for attending this sharing session by this our ISE program. Okay, so on behalf of the Department of Industrial Systems Engineering and Management, okay, a very welcome to you once again. Very happy and excited to learn that you guys now have get acceptance to our this major ISE major, right? So today we have some lined up with some presentations, hopefully to let you learn more about our program. Okay, so yeah, so this is basically the agenda. I think we are already falling behind the schedule by a bit because of the earlier briefings. Okay, so nevertheless, later after the introduction, our deputy head for undergraduate, Dr. Tan Chin Hon, will share with you more about our this ISE major, right? So then after that, we also have together in today's afternoon the ISE Club ESCO to share with you guys some of the student life and also some of the projects and activities if you were to join us in this program. Okay, so then we also have invited a couple of senior students to be with us today to give you guys a glimpse about some of the project work that they have been doing in the past semesters. Okay, so we are very thankful and grateful for them, of course, right? Because, you know, now it's the exam season in NUS, and then yesterday, after the final exam, most of them have already flew off for their grad trip. And we are very happy that, you know, they have kindly stayed behind just to support this program. Right, so we'll have some two students to share about their projects. I'll introduce them later, not to worry. And then if you have any questions, you know, we invite you to actually share with us, and then we try our best to respond. And then after that, the most important, okay, we have prepared also a tea reception, right? So take this opportunity to dialogue and network with some of the students and also the staff. If you have any detailed inquiries about the programs or the curriculum, etc. Okay, so right, I do see some parents, okay, with us today, right? So of course, you know, really grateful for you guys for doing a very good job. I think, yeah, a very commendable job in, you know, grooming your kids. Okay, 18 years of education, and it's really not easy, right? And then of course, you know, tomorrow is Mother's Day, and then subsequently there's Father's Day. So do, right, give a shout out to your, okay, mom and dad, okay? So they are, of course, play a very important role. And I noticed that, you know, for, you know, the recent years, that open house events, the parents are very enthusiastic and very involved, right, in the type of, you know, different majors and different curriculums that the various autonomous universities has to offer. Okay, so that is great. So because they help to find a lot of information and then discern together with their kids about the various career potentials and the so-called the different disciplines, right? Which is great. So, you know, a lot of more information and this knowledge has been shared. Okay, unlike like my own mother, until now she still doesn't know what I'm doing, okay, in engineering, right? So I mean that's just kind of like yeah, it's different, right? It's different. Okay, so you know, I'm very inspired by the presence of parents here today. Okay, I also have very small children, but they are still primary school, but we are also very involved. So hopefully when, you know, they grow up, I can also, you know, continue to try to, you know, help them to provide, of course, not make decisions for them, but then to kind of like to have a sounding board, right, to find more information about different so-called these choices, okay, because it's a very important program and then the next phase of your academic so-called career. Okay, so I think I talk a bit too much, right? So now we will invite this Dr. Tan Chin Hon, our deputy head for undergraduate program, to give overview about our IC major. Okay, Dr. Tan, please.
Okay, thanks to Prof. Adam for the kind introduction. And I have to say that It reminds me, I think my parents also don't really know what industrial engineering is about. But then again, I think it's fine. They know I'm in engineering. But it's somewhat a difficult discipline to kind of comprehend at the first start because, the more traditional engineering, civil engineering, because you can see the roads, you can see the bridges. So people kind of understand what civil engineering is. You can see the vehicles, you can see the airplanes. So, people get a sense of what mechanical engineering is over there. So we are industrial and systems engineering. So if you think about engineering, what do mechanical engineers, civil engineers do? They build, they design, they build, they maintain, structures, vehicles, and so on. So industrial and systems engineering, what we do is that we design, we build, and we maintain systems. And so systems essentially is something a bit more abstract, but at the same time, essentially it's just a group of components coming together to achieve certain types of outcomes over there. So you could have something like a supply chain that is going to be a system where you have multiple trucks, vehicles, and you have multiple goods, different customers. And so what we need to do is that we need to design what is going to be the best way for the trucks to pick up the goods to deliver to the customers. Okay, so to me, I think that gap over there is essentially just that systems is something a bit more abstract. But once you kind of understand what engineering is, designing, building, and then maintaining, then I hope that kind of becomes clear over there. And systems is our playground, where we are actually working on things over there. So as Prof. Adam has mentioned over there, so the undergraduate program comes under my care, but I think later on we do have a sharing session as well over refreshments. So I definitely need to introduce my colleague over here, Mr. Stephen Chiang. He's our senior manager for undergraduate program. In fact, he will be the one who knows the inside out of the program. So if you have any questions, you come to me. Chances are I will go to him and then I will respond subsequently. Okay, so he will be available later on to help share with you and to help answer any questions that you may have. Okay, so I'm told we are running behind time, so I should accelerate this, right? So, but at the same time, I do hope that I would be able to give you a flavor as to what our discipline is about and also kind of how we design this program. So as I've mentioned, essentially what we're looking at is that we're trying to solve problems for companies. So be it an inventory problem, be it a transportation problem, or be it a whole manufacturing plant over there. How do you manage a whole manufacturing process? So what we're looking at is that we are solving problems and improving systems. So I think the best way to think about industrial engineering is to think about the tools that we use over here. And so there are 4 that I wish to highlight. Basically, data analytics, simulation, optimization, and decision making. And so very quickly, one thing to take note of is what is going to serve as the foundation, which is that if you have the question, is this the right discipline for me or not? This is going to be the first check. The foundation for these tools is going to be math. Okay, so we are in the business where we are going to actually make use of quantitative analysis to be able to understand the problem and then come up with a solution for the problem. So things like your linear algebra, your calculus, okay, your probability, your statistics, those are going to be relevant over there. So if you don't like numbers, then probably this is not the right discipline for you. Okay, but if you like numbers, if you like to have a quantitative way to analyze a problem, to solve it, and to convince people that this is the right direction to go ahead, then this is going to be an ideal discipline for you over there. Very often what we're going to do, for example, in optimization, we are going to make use of mathematical functions, equations to model the real world, and using that to then figure out what is going to be the best solution. Sometimes that may not be possible because the real world is going to be a lot more complicated than what you can do efficiently with just math formulas over there. So under those situations, sometimes programming is going to be an easier way to analyze and solve that problem. And so with that, that is why programming is going to be something that is going to also be very helpful. Okay, and so that essentially is going to form your toolbox, which you are going to use to help companies solve their problems. So let's go ahead. Okay, so Yeah, so this is a problem. Later on, one key feature of our program is the systems design project, where essentially our students are going to work in a group of about 4 to 5, and then they will be attached to a company to solve a realistic problem that the company is facing. So I believe that our department has made arrangements for our students to come here later on to share about the project they have done. And so very quickly, I'm just going to share 3 that have been done in the past. So this, sorry, maybe you can go back. So very quickly, this is the first one that was done with Shopee. And so essentially for Shopee, what the problem they told us was that essentially they had a lot of inventory in the warehouse. That means, so companies like the inventory to be moving fast. Because every time I have all this inventory in the warehouse, they are not generating income for me. Okay, so companies like to be able to use their capital to purchase the goods, quickly sell it, so that they have the money to further invest over there. And so basically the group of students, they went in, and then through their analysis, their discussion with the company, and they decided that how they wanted to tackle this problem was to try to improve the forecasting. So I think everybody can see how if you are able to come up with a better forecast, then you would be better able to plan the amount of inventory that you need on hand over there. So basically, what the group did was they got the historical demand data. They used data analytics to come up with their demand forecasting. So their forecast was actually pretty good. So if you are familiar, let's say mean absolute error, they were able to reduce the forecasting error by about 70%. And so with that, they were able to bring down the amount of slow-moving inventory within the company over there. Okay, and so this is one example of the use of data analytics and then translating into decisions that the company can actually use. So let's go to the next one. Okay, so let's move on one more slide. Or maybe I should control it. Yeah, no problem, I should do that.
Sorry.
Okay, no problem, thanks. Okay, so I should do this myself, but Hong Tan, thanks for that. Okay, so this is a second problem that we have. So this was attached to Infineon. So Infineon is in semicon manufacturing over there. And so the company was basically interested in how they kind of manage the deployment of their jobs. In particular, they were looking at the deployment of their AGV, automated guided vehicles, to go and pick up the job and then move it to the next workstation over there. So in the interest of time, I wouldn't go into the details of this particular project, but essentially what the students did was they basically made use of simulation to come up with a digital version of what the factory floor is over there. The nice thing about having a simulation like this is that then the manager can play around with it. Okay, the manager can say that, okay, if I buy one more of this AGV, how much is it going to reduce in terms of, let's say, the waiting time? How much is it going to increase in terms of my throughput? Then the manager will be able to balance between the cost of the AGV and the increased throughput that results from it over there. Okay, I hope you can see that once you have a simulation, there's a lot of this what-if analysis that you will be able to do. And so using all this what-if analysis, we will then be able to guide managers in terms of what is going to be the best decision. Should you purchase more AGV? Should you hire more staff? Or potentially, should you just reschedule your staff over there? Okay, so I hope you can see how these things that we do are going to be saving a lot for the companies. Okay, and so very often, one thing that follows from this system design project is that we tell the students, quantify the benefits that you bring to the company. Okay, and so if you are able to tell the company, okay, via this project, I save $250,000 for you annually, then essentially, the $120,000 they pay you for, let's say, your salary, then that's worth it already, right? Because you've already saved more for the company over there. Okay, the third problem, this one essentially we did this with the MHA, Ministry of Home Affairs. So, but in particular, it was with the Singapore Police Force. So essentially, the problem they were looking at is the planning of major events. And so an example of this is going to be, let's say, your National Day Parade and so on. Okay, and so for the National Day Parade, what the Singapore Police Force needs to do is that they need to deploy their resources at various locations. In case something happens at a particular location, their manpower needs to be able to address that situation. It's not just manpower, but equipment as well. Depending on the scenario, the situation that happens, the manpower would potentially need to have their safety gear. They may need to, let's say, have riot gear or so on. Okay, and so that we have limited resources. So the question over here is, where do you position what resources, what manpower over there? So for this particular problem, what we did, this is an optimization problem, where essentially we just modeled this whole problem using a series of mathematical equations. The beauty of this is that once you're able to do this, you can then go ahead and use a computer to be able to help you quickly identify the best solution to this particular problem over there. Okay, and so this is going to be quite a common feature of industrial engineering, where your job is basically just to make use of math, or let's say computer technology, to model the real world problem. Once you're able to do that, then we have all these optimization techniques to help you identify what is going to be the best solution to that problem. Okay, and so this is an example of our optimization resulting in decision making. And so for a lot of this systems design project, by the time they are done with this project, this is year 4 when they're about to graduate, then very often this is a potential source of employer already. Okay, so if our students are able to demonstrate the value that they bring to them, even while they are students, then I think you can see why employers are potentially interested to hire them after they graduate. Okay, so where do our graduates work? So these are some companies where our graduates go to. Broadly speaking, I think you can classify them into a few categories over here. So over here, this category, I think you see a lot of our graduates, you see a portion of our graduates going to government and government services over there. Okay, so you have like Desta, Sing Health, and so on. So I will put them as government and services. You see quite a few of them going into the finance industry. You see quite a few of them going into the tech industry. Manufacturing is going to be a big one as well. So there's going to be a lot of manufacturing facilities in Singapore. And so that's where a lot of our graduates go to. If you think about supply chain, many of these companies also require supply chain expertise. And so sometimes when our graduates go there, either they serve as people who help to optimize their manufacturing process, or they could also be people to help in terms of their supply chain planning. We do see some of our students getting into consulting as well. Essentially, consulting is very much like your system design project. You go into the company, understand the problem, analyze for them. Our value add. So very often companies, there are people in the company who kind of have an idea what the solution is. Very often our value add to them is that we go in, we understand the problem, we articulate the problem for them to management, so that management would then be able to deploy the resources to solve that problem. Okay, and so I hope you can see that is where that quantitative background is important. Because you can't just say that, oh, I think this is a good solution. We go in, we say that, okay, this seems to be a good solution. We gather the data, we do the simulation, we verify that, indeed, this is the best use of your resources. I think if you didn't know, I think this is quite common knowledge that our graduates generally are well paid. So median salary last year was 4,006. So, and if you look at the national median salary, that's 4,300. Median salary across all engineering is 4,005. Okay, so our graduates are reasonably well paid over there. Okay, but I think one thing that I want to highlight is going to be in terms of our employment numbers as well. Okay, so it's not just a matter of the money that you get, but I think that companies really see our value. So even in times of a challenging job market, our graduates are always consistently able to find jobs over there. So 2020, this was the year that due to COVID, the job market was actually really very bad. So I think this was the year that you could see that for our graduates, they continue to actually were able to secure good jobs over there. Okay, and so I think last year was a bit more challenging compared to the previous year, but you see that our graduates continue to be able to secure good jobs. In fact, the trend that we notice is that whenever the job market is difficult outside, our employment number seems to go up. And I think the reason for that is just that when the job market is a bit difficult outside, our graduates just go like, okay, I'll just take this job. I wouldn't, think about other jobs and so on. So that's kind of the trend that we see over there. Okay, but I hope you can see the value that our graduates bring to the company. And why is it that, they are going to be highly sought after by companies over there. Okay, so very quickly, let me just get into the curriculum. So this is going to be the curriculum structure for, in fact, the whole common engineering. Okay, so there's going to be 60 units, which we refer to as the common curriculum. There's going to be 60 units, which is the major requirement, which is the requirements that you will need in order to graduate as an industrial systems engineer over there. And finally, there are going to be 40 units where it's unrestricted. And I think the president has pushed for this really hard, that, when we say unrestricted, we really mean that it's going to be unrestricted. You can do anything that you want with it over there. Okay, so it took us a very long time to get here. Okay, it was not an easy journey. But then I think we have reached the stage where really it is unrestricted. The motivation for it is this, which is that I think we recognize that every individual is different. Even every industrial system engineer is different as well. Different people have different industries they want to go to. They have different inclinations. And so I think the key idea is that we want to give the flexibility for students to be able to chart their own education here at NUS. Okay, very quickly, the common curriculum, it's actually split into the university requirements and also the college requirements over there. So university requirements, there are essentially 6 of them. I like to think that was Martin the one that spoke just now? So probably the Vice Dean shared the curriculum with you. So I'm assuming that this should be familiar to you already. So I'll run through it very quickly, but once again, I think will be available later on. So any questions, feel free to check with us. Okay, so university requirements, there are going to be 6 of this. And then at the college level, these are the ones that we have over here. And then for industrial systems engineering, this system design project is what is going to satisfy that integrated project requirement. Okay, so let's get to the major requirements, which I'm sure Martin would not have talked about it, right? So these are the ones that I should be talking about. As mentioned just now, you are going to require the strong math foundation over there. So that's where we have your calculus, your differential equation. So hopefully, we are in the business of optimization, right? To find the optimal point, essentially, is your stationary point. Okay, and so if you have a continuous smooth function over there, being able to differentiate it, set it to be 0, that gets you your optimal point. That is going to be your calculus. Linear algebra, basically, if you are able to use math equations to express that problem. Okay, the math equations would express your objective functions, would express the various characteristics of that problem over there. That's where your linear algebra comes in. Many of the problems we deal with are basically you are going to be faced with a lot of uncertainties. Probability and statistics, those are the ones that are going to be required as well. And then we have our programming. And so for the university requirement, there is already a programming course that you need to do. And then at the same time, within our department, we have an additional one of data structure and algorithms. There's industrial attachment. So I think I've mentioned about the system design project. Industrial attachment is the other one. It's the second opportunity, is the other opportunity where our students go out there to actually make changes to the company, to show the value that they can bring to the company over there. Okay, and so industrial attachment is another one that all our students will go for. In terms of the course, other course modules over here, we have Principles and Practice of Industrial Systems Engineering 1 and 2. So this will be taken in the first year to give you an understanding of what industrial systems engineering is about. And then our courses over here, not surprisingly, is going to be your probability models. How do you use probability to model real-world problems? The application of statistics. And then operations research is going to be about simulation, about optimization. And then you have a course on simulation. Okay, so in a nutshell, that's going to be essentially what is going to be making up the curriculum for the industrial and systems engineering. And at the same time, there are going to be 2 technical electives that you will have to choose. So you get to choose, do you want to take advanced courses in supply chain, in sustainability, or in data analytics, and so on. Okay, and so that's what you will use to satisfy the technical elective requirements. The last one over here, 40 units of unrestricted elective. The idea over here is that we give you the flexibility. It's up to you whether you want to go deep into industrial engineering, you can take more of these technical electives, or if you want to go broad, then you can actually think about taking courses outside of industrial and systems engineering. And to facilitate that, there's going to be the second major, taking a minor or a specialization. The majors and minors, essentially, it's allowing you to go broad, to branch into another discipline over there. Area of specialization allows you to go deep within industrial systems engineering. So, for example, somebody who wishes to be, let's say, a data scientist could consider, on top of the curriculum over here, to make use of their unrestricted elective to do supply chain analytics and decision intelligence. So these are 2 of the 3 areas of specializations that we have in our department over there. Okay, so this will be an example of somebody who wants to go deep within our field. Alternatively, you could have somebody who, let's say, wants to become an investment analyst over here. So this individual, on top of the courses that are required for industrial systems engineering, can consider doing a minor in economics and then doing a minor in quantitative finance over there. Okay, giving the individual the appropriate background to be able to, let's say, go into the financial field over there. Okay, but so this is where essentially there's going to be a lot of flexibility. So you can also combine, let's say, to do 1 minor along with 1 specialization over there. Okay, and so these are all possible. Of course, if you want to do a second major, then that's going to take up all of your 40 units. So one thing that I should highlight over there, the 40 units is actually for most of the common engineering. For industrial systems engineering, what happens is that your engineering principles and practice 1 actually satisfy the data literacy already. So basically, we told the university, come on, this course basically introduces our students to data over there. And so with that, basically, that 1 course meets your major requirements and also the university requirements. So with that, basically, we free up 1 space. That's where for your unrestricted electives, rather than 40 units, you need to do 44 units. Okay, but then, which means that you basically just have more choices. Simply because you have 1 course that already satisfies 2 of those courses. So that's why you have now one more choice that you can use to take anything that you want to do over there. Okay, so this was something that we think it's good for our students. So for areas of specializations, our department, there are 3. So there's supply chain analytics, analytics and decision intelligence, and also sustainability analytics over there. So if you look at our sharing by our Deputy Prime Minister, Heng Swee Keat, so this was in May 2022, you realize that the Singapore government realizes that there are 3 areas about the future of work. 3 major shifts: green transition, digitization, and resilience of supply chain. Okay, and our areas of specializations are very well aligned with how the government sees the future of work is going to be over there. Another thing to take note of is generative AI. So I think these days, you can't browse the internet or even talk to people or watch the news without hearing about generative AI, right? So I think since November 2022, ever since OpenAI shared their ChatGPT, okay, then this has become a hot topic. So I think as a department, we recognize that this is indeed going to be very relevant. If you are not aware, NUS actually has a policy in terms of generative AI, okay? And our stance is this, which is that generative AI is going to be here to stay, okay? So we're not going to ban generative AI. In fact, we're going to be actively looking at how to equip our students for a future where generative AI is going to be part and parcel of the workplace over there. So at the department, we have already started to get our colleagues to look into it, and we are already introducing courses. So for example, we have this new course on generative AI and Web3 technologies and how you can use it for industrial engineering applications over there. So I think in a nutshell, what I hope to say is that as a department, we are very happy that our graduates continue to find good jobs year after year. Okay, because if you have to supervise students for the system design project, for the final year project, by the time they are about to graduate, that conversation is always difficult, right? You want to ask them, so, how are things going? You found your job, what are your plans, and so on. Okay, and so we are always very happy that our students are finding good jobs and so on. But I want to say that this is not something that just happens by chance. But this is because, as a department, we spend a lot of time trying to understand what is it that the market needs out there. What is it that really helps our graduates provide value to employers? And we consistently do this just to make sure that we are ahead of the curve so that our graduates continue to be able to secure good jobs upon graduation. Okay, finally, why study at ISE at NUS? So our department, we have been training engineers since 1969. And I would say that the key point over here is because of our extensive industry collaborations and connections that we have with both partner universities and also with the companies. So for us to be able to do system design project, to offer industrial attachments, we need the collaborations with the companies. For us to be able to offer student exchange program to provide the overseas experience, we need to have partnerships with our partner universities over there. Okay, and I will say that because of the NUS brand name, because of our department's brand name, we are able to continuously do this. And so I'll be happy to go into the details or to share more later on, but very quickly, some of the examples are that there's a student exchange program where you would potentially spend 1 semester overseas. There's also summer and winter school, where essentially you just spend your holidays overseas taking courses. There's going to be the system design project, I talked about it. Internship, I think everyone should be familiar with it. We also have the overseas college. So this is a program by NUS, and then we do have students going for it. So it's going to be similar to, it's a mix of your student exchange program and your internship. So what happens is that you will be going overseas to take courses at a partner university, but at the same time, you'll be attached to a startup company to be able to help with that startup as well. Okay, so it's a combination of your internship and your student exchange. Okay, and with that, I think that's all that I wanted to share. So I think you can scan this QR for more information. And as mentioned, myself, Stephen, and I think our students will be around. So if you have any other questions later on, we'll be happy to answer them. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Tan, for sharing about our ISE major. Okay, so, it's not just studying and exams and mugging when you are in NUS. Okay, so we also have a lot of very vibrant student life. Okay, so next, we're very happy also to have Chuan Hao, who is the president of the ICE Student Club. Correct, right? Yeah, okay. To share with you guys, okay, some of the lighter sides of university life. Okay, Chuan Hao, please.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Adam. Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Chuan Hao. I'm currently a year 2 student. So okay, thank you for the click. Okay, so yeah, so I'm the president of the IC Club. So you might be asking, what is IC Club? So actually, we are a sub-club under the School of College and Design Engineering, and we help to organize events for IC students to enrich their university experience. So we do different events to help IC students bond together as a cohort. Okay, so these are some of the events we did in the past year. So as you can see, we do a lot of events such as freshman orientation, IC Day, welfare giveaway, night cycling, BACC, community involvement, and we have some events upcoming where you can actually join us, okay, for the orientation and some. Okay, so let's first talk about the freshman orientation. So as you know, when freshmen join us initially, we welcome them through this freshman orientation. So actually, this is some pictures from last year's freshman orientation. So what do you expect to gain out of this freshman orientation? You come to university, it's a new environment for you. So why should you join us in this freshman orientation? So yeah, you actually get to meet a lot of new friends, do some interesting activities, and bond through them. And yeah, do a little bit to get to know more about the course, more about your batchmates, and that'll be actually very useful to making more friends when you're coming into university. It's a new environment for all the freshmen. Okay, so next one is a little bit more on the learning side, which is a IC Day event. So actually this event is pretty meaningful, and a lot of our freshmen love joining this event. So what this event is about is basically we got seniors who just now mentioned by Prof Tan, going for all these overseas experiences, internship experiences. So actually what they do is they come back to our year one students and come and share with us how is their internship experiences, how is their overseas experiences going to exchange in Germany. Yeah, we have there Matthew. Yeah, he's a very tough guy who's very good at studying. Yeah, he shared with us how he managed to balance, academics, sleep and social life, the triangle. Yeah, actually a lot of people know him. And with that we have Matthew, who's a very Li Ren, who is very unique, a very unique guy that has his own personality style and do things his own way. And it's actually very inspiring for us young freshmen. Yes. Okay, so exam is a huge part of our life, but exam is not everything, right? So actually, we actually provide some alpha packs for all the freshmen, not just the freshmen, but all the IC students, who are going to tackle the exams heads on, and we're gonna actually provide some refreshments for them while they are actually preparing for their exams. Okay, this is actually also our past event. You can see actually that's the same guy from orientation. You remember him, the guy in the middle. So that's Victor, by the way. So actually, what this event is, after our finals, we actually get a bunch of people together to go out and have a night cycling. So actually, this year we went to Pasir Ris. Last year was Marina. Yeah, so actually we cycle a different path every year, maybe to go and explore, have some supper, just enjoy yourself after finals. I mean, why still so stressed after finals? No reason to, yeah, of course. Okay, yeah, these some pictures we took this last year, yeah, the most recent time. Okay, let's talk about this business case competition. So BACC, also known as Business Analytic Case Competition. You can see some of the familiar faces here. All the profs, they are actually our judges for the case competition. So this competition is not just open for IC students, it's actually open to the whole universities. And it's actually being organized by us, IC Club. So actually there are a lot of participants. These are only the people who are in the finalists, who are actually the ones who are handpicked by us. Their projects are really the reports are really very well done, and actually they do a presentation to all the judges to actually develop the idea and try to explain how their problem solving way was actually developed. Some of them use programming, some of them use greedy algorithms, different things that they do. But in the end, we actually got some of them to actually work with a lot of cash prizes. So if you're interested, after you join for a year, you learn some technical skills, actually join us in this competition to, maybe gain some exposure and maybe win some prizes also. Yeah, actually, yeah, that's actually our, from our IC also. But, the two other ones, they are not necessarily from IC. Okay, so yeah, we also love giving back to our community. So this is actually our visits to an old folks home in Sengkang. Yeah, so actually what we did there is, we actually interacted a lot with the elderlies and actually spent some time talking to them, giving back to them, organized an event for them. Actually, that's what we did. So yeah, actually quite a lot of participants actually went there, to actually connect with the elderlies directly. Okay, so this is our upcoming event, which is going to be happening in July. So, you can actually join us as a freshman. You can actually join us in this journey where, we have a lot of fun activities planned, similar to your orientation. You probably been through some orientations in JC. We just make new friends, talk to new people, from different schools, maybe not from Singapore, maybe, with different life journeys. You just come in together as IC people, and you actually know each other better before school even starts. Okay? Okay, any more questions? You can actually ask me after this. Yeah, this is my last slide. Yes. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Chen Hao, for sharing with us. The IC Club doing a lot of good work, okay, to serve the students in this program, right? So before we proceed to the SDP sharing, so very important thing is that the weather is very hot. So if anybody of y'all need more water, just raise your hand. Okay, I think the student helpers here will be happy to, go and fetch, pass some of the water for you guys. Okay, because they also sitting there very bored. Okay, so just don't be shy. Just feel free to raise your hand if you need water. Okay, right. So yeah, as this Dr. Tan just now earlier on he shared, right? Our students are able to actually tackle quite a many different, very challenging problems arising from the industry, different industries. Okay, and why is that possible? Is because again we come back to that pillar of the simulation, optimization, data, and the decision making. Okay, so that is once again I just wanted to echo that is kind of like a very important skill set that we actually train our students to become very strong with. Okay, so what I'm saying is because like sometimes when I look through Reddit threads and all that, there are people saying that is ISE kind of like a jack of all trades, that kind of thing, right? So actually, to dispel the myth, it is not. It is because we have a very powerful tool that allows them to take on different applications. Okay, so there's a saying that says, right? It's better to have one very sharp knife than have 10 very blunt knives. Okay, so we are not looking for 10 very blunt knives. That's the jack of all trades. One very sharp knife, you can cut through anything. Okay, I mean, that's just a side observation that I made while I was listening to Dr. Tan. Right, so talking about the applications, now we will have two so-called students, our senior students, to share with us a bit more about their system design project that they just completed. So this is straight out from the oven. Okay, so but again, due to the time limitation, I basically only give them about 10 minutes to share, so it's not going to be very, very detailed, right? So what they did is 1 year worth of work is a lot more, so it's not a trivial exercise, right? But because of the time limitation today, we'll just get them to share some so-called the main points, right? So the first is this Zachary. Okay, Zachary is a graduating student. Okay, so we are happy to have him here. He and his team did a project with Halliburton, one of the largest so-called this service and product supplier for oil and gas companies like oil rigging, fracking, that kind of things. Okay, so let's listen to what Zachary has to share with us.
Hi, so good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, my name is Zachary, and as Prof. Adam mentioned, I'm a graduating student. So today we will be presenting to you two different system designs projects, and then hopefully through these presentations we want to give you a first look at the processes involved in the SDP module and to showcase how ISE skills can be applied to real industry problems. Okay, so just some background about SDP. So the purpose of the Systems Design Project, or SDP, is to provide a team-based opportunity for students to gain complex problem-solving experience through analysis, design, implementation, and practical delivery in an actual industry setting. So it's an important and extremely valuable experience for ISE students because we have the opportunity to work with actual companies and experience firsthand the engineering industry before stepping into it. It gave me an idea of what to expect and what is expected of me as an engineer and before I begin my career. So through the project, we get to study, formulate, and analyze an actual industrial problem with the goal of recommending and implementing a practical design solution. So it also inculcates intangible attributes such as professionalism, teamwork, and practical experience that cannot be taught in a classroom. Finally, and maybe most importantly, it allows us to apply the knowledge we learn in our modules to actual real-life problems. So this particular project was held in, sorry, can you hear me right? Yeah. This particular project was held in collaboration with Halliburton and is called the Streamline Assembly Process with Collaborative Robots, Halliburton's Automation Initiative. So now allow me to properly introduce the company that we had the privilege of working with. So our team was given the opportunity to work with Halliburton, which is the world's second largest oil service company, and the company responsible for most of the world's largest fracking operations. Halliburton has decided to take initial steps to automate their assembly operation by considering the option to deploy collaborative robots. So collaborative robots, commonly known as cobots, are robots that are designed to work together with humans, not just for humans. The goal of this project is to conduct a comprehensive study on the feasibility and potential benefits of incorporating cobots into assembly and test processes for the company. So here we have the methodology or the in-depth process of this project. So as mentioned, it is a year-long project and it is quite long and complicated. So I won't be boring you with all the details. I'll just be focusing on three main areas, which are the time study, simulation, and hypothesis testing. So before we are able to analyze anything, we must first gain a deeper understanding of Halliburton's assembly process. Our team accomplished this by conducting a comprehensive time study, which took up a large percentage of our project timeline. So first, video recordings of the assembly process are taken, then we divide the process into a sequence of activities, and then the duration required for each activity is analyzed. So despite how time-consuming it may be, this process helped us to understand every part of the assembly process and to identify tasks that are suitable for collaborative robots to take over. It was also interesting because we got to experience the factory workflow and learn about technicians and engineers in the industry. Next, we have the simulation phase. So using the data gathered from the time study, we created a simulation model of the assembly line, where we enhanced the layout, compare the performance of the assembly line with and without collaborative robots, and determine the optimal number of collaborative robots required. So I chose to present on this simulation phase because I wanted to showcase an example of something that you will learn about in the ISE curriculum and something that you'll be able to achieve as well. So for our simulation model, we utilize a software called FlexSim, which is a 3D simulation modeling and analysis software that we use quite often in ISE. So here is a short video. Okay, I think it stopped already, but it illustrates the flow of the assembly line. So the product enters the system from the inventory, then the worklist sends it to the assembly receiving area, and then the overhead crane moves the product to any available workstation for assembly before they are sent out of the model. So this was another very interesting segment of our project. Being able to create realistic simulations lets us see our visions and ideas come to life. And it's also an extremely useful tool for data analysis. So additionally, FlexSim has the capability to accelerate and speed up experiments, which saved us a lot of time. So besides creating and seeing projects come to life, FlexSim enables us to conduct more in-depth data analysis, as seen in this slide. So I won't be explaining every single detail or data presented here, but it basically allows us to play with different values such as total output, output per hour, and cycle time, which makes it a lot easier to compare. So FlexSim is also able to analyze all the data it generates and compile the results into concise graphs, such as this box and whiskers plot. So this makes it a lot easier for us to view the data in its entirety and locate patterns or trends. Finally, we have the hypothesis testing phase. So in this section, we are going to dive into the statistical analysis of the project. Once again, it is quite complex, but I decided to showcase this particular aspect of the project in order to demonstrate how something so theoretical and something that most of us only use in the classroom can be translated into real-life applications. So we are looking at the application of statistical methods to compare the performance of manual versus collaborative robot assembly processes. So we utilize methods such as the central limit theorem and confidence intervals to support our hypothesis testing. We then conducted hypothesis testing with a t-distribution to determine if there is enough statistical evidence to prove our hypothesis. So our hypothesis states that the collaborative robot assembly is at least as fast, if not faster than manual assembly. And our alternative hypothesis suggests that the collaborative robot assembly is not faster than manual assembly. So I can't remember if this is included in like the JC or Poly syllabus, but I hope like some of you are familiar with, or maybe just heard of these before. So these methods were taught in the first and second years of the ISE course and are frequently used for the remainder of our studies. But this project was actually the first time I applied these methods to real-life problems instead of just in assignments or exams. So it helped me to realize how useful the theories taught during lessons can be, and it's one of my major takeaways from the SDP. So in conclusion, I believe that the SDP has been a very beneficial and vital part of my experience as a ISE student. It has given me opportunities and experiences that not many have easy access to, or not many other engineering courses will offer. So we were able to work with like well-known companies and gain important industrial experience. The SDP has also helped me develop a greater interest in simulation, model creation, data analysis, and statistics, which are all like the main foundations of what ISE is. It helped me to understand the value in possessing this knowledge and how useful it will be in my future career. And lastly, the SDP has once again highlighted that while ISE is a niche major, it is incredibly versatile. My 4 years of studies have inculcated in me business knowledge, analytical skills, abundant project opportunities, and work experience. So it's a very interesting experience, and I hope that I have piqued your interest as well. And with that, I've come to the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Zachary, for sharing with us his project with Halliburton. Okay, so when I first heard that, okay, he's presenting on a project with Halliburton, I was a bit worried or concerned, not worried, okay, because, oil and gas sector and players has been getting a lot of flack, okay, in the recent years in the face of sustainability and all that. But then, I think Halliburton has pivoted in the recent years, okay, in terms of their technology and their equipment to carbon capture, for example. Okay, so just now what Zachary presented was how to assemble equipment, for example, for fracking. That means like cracking deep ocean floor and all that. But similar concept, okay, they can actually pivot into, locating space, underground space for carbon capture and storage. Okay, so why I'm getting to this is I'm trying to do an advertisement. Okay, so next Saturday, okay, 18th of May, we have this short webinar on sustainability, as just now again mentioned by Dr. Tan. One of our AOS is on sustainability analytics. Okay, so this is a new AOS. Actually, we mounted just recently, right? So if you are kind of like interested or very curious, right, to know why ISE has anything to do with sustainability and how some of like just now what I said, those key skills can actually synergize very well with some of these challenging problems of decarbonization and climate change, do try to attend this webinar, or you can tell your friends to also check it out. Okay, so do try to register and make time for it. Right. So, okay, so next we still have one last presentation for the system design project. Okay, so Shuning, right? So she's also graduating student. Okay, so she's going to present another different so-called this industry, right? So how they actually help the airline in-flight catering, okay, in-flight catering to solve some of their challenging problems. Okay, Shuning, please.
Thank you, Prof. Adam. So, hi everyone, my name is Shuning. I'm a year 4 ISE student. I'm also graduating soon. So, thank you for listening so far. I'll be taking you through my SDP project, which is process optimization for sets. So, I'll show you some of the fun stuff I did, like simulation model, and then I'll also give you some sneak peeks into how you can apply ISE skills into real industrial problems. Okay, so let's begin. So for our project, we were assigned to the company sets. For those of you who have, For those of you who have taken budget airlines before, like Scoot and Jetstar, you know the meals that you eat in the plane, and also sometimes you can buy snacks and beverages, especially in Scoot, right? So all these meals are actually prepared by sets. Okay, so sets will prepare this food and then pack them into the meal carts that the cabin crew use, that they push around in the plane. Okay, so process optimization is actually a very broad term. So when we talk about optimization, we can optimize from the inventory management to sales forecasting to the packing process or the transportation system. So there's a lot of area that we can optimize, but after discussions with the managers from sets, actually what they want us to focus is on the packing process. So we have narrowed down our scope into these two objectives: establish more efficient packing processes to increase the scalability of operations to meet the growing demand in flights, and also standardize the methods to identify expiring items to increase the accuracy and reduce the time taken. Okay, so a lot of words, right? But in short, basically make the whole packing process more efficient and also make the process of identifying the expired item more efficient and more accurate. Okay, so that we won't be eating expired food. Okay. With the goals in mind, we started off by going down to the catering center multiple times to observe the packers at work, as well as collect the data on their activities and the time proportion taken for each of their actions. So from this pie chart, you can see that these are the different activities they have to do while packing, and then this is the time proportion. So the observation is that there's significant time spent on non-value adding activities, so such as walking back and forth to obtain the stock to replenish the drawers in the meal carts, and then searching for items among the stockpile, so they have a pile of where all the food items are placed there, and then remove them from the food items from the packaging, and then carry them back to put inside the carts. And also checking for expiring goods one by one, so the packers have to take the items. They know that a batch of items is going to expire soon, but because there's numerous carts there, and it's very difficult to track the expired item is located in which particular flight, which particular cart, so they have to take the item and check one by one the expiry date. So that's very time consuming. Okay, however, this is just based on our observation for some of the carts, because we can't be there for the whole day, right, and do the time study. So that's why it is insufficient to just rely on these and evaluate the overall performance of the whole packing process. That's why we move on to build a simulation model. Okay, so the purpose of creating a simulation model is to evaluate the performance of the current packing process on a larger scale. A simulation model allows us to be able to simulate the packing process of different packing stations for multiple days and collect a large data sample comparing to the handful of flights that we are able to time manually. This software we use is also Flexim, same as Zachary's group. Okay, now let's take a closer look at the simulation model. As you can see that when the carts arrive from the arrival flights, they will first go to the waiting bay, and then these little figures here, they are the packers. They'll go to the waiting bay and collect the carts that belong to their packing station. And then if these yellow machines here are available, then they will push the carts to the machine, and then after that they will come to this food pile and collect the food and travel back to the yellow machines. Okay, so all this is based on the packing list of individual carts. So the amount of food you need to replenish for individual cart is different. So let's fast forward. So when they stand beside the machine means that they finish retrieving the food and they are doing the return count and the replenishment process. Okay, you see now after the packing process, this packer actually push these carts to the staging area and take the next cart and continue this, repeat this whole process again. Okay. Once all the carts for our flight have finished packing and are placed in the respective staging area, the men in yellow hats, if you can see this small man in yellow hats, will collect the cards from all the individual staging areas and then push them to the outbound area. So it will go through this green machine and go to the outbound bay. Okay. So after simulating this whole process, right, we have set up multiple key performance indicators to evaluate the performance of the packing processes. You can see that while the simulation is running, the charts are constantly updated. Then at the end of the simulation, we can use these results to draw insights. So some of the types of statistics we use are throughput, the manpower utilization rate, and then also the process time distribution, and also the process time for individual station, the cycle time, okay? So from the simulation results, we are able to identify mainly 3 thresholds of the current packing process, which are significant time spent on non-value-adding activities. So this is the same as what we previously observed through manual time study. And secondly, RTM station, which is one of their packing station, is the limiting factor on the total throughput. Thirdly, F&B packers and cart pushers are underutilized. Okay, so since RTM station is packing too slowly, and then the F&B station, the packers there have a lot of free time, right? So it makes sense if I just shift more packers from the F&B stations to the RTM stations. Therefore, we conducted optimization of manpower allocation. So we maximize the total throughput by reallocation of manpower to the packing station without changing the total number of manpower. But the results is not very good. In the end, the results is the total throughput improved from 74 flights to 77 flights. So this is a very little improvement from our objective. And there are also some unwanted side effects of this shift in manpower, which I will not go through in details. So basically, we conclude that since optimization based on the current packing process, if we don't change our process and we just optimize the manpower and the location of different stations, so on and so forth, it actually doesn't work well. It cannot achieve our objective. That's why we decided to come up with new solutions based on literature review. Okay, I will not go into the details of the solutions. That will take another hour. But basically what we have done is we have created new layout and new task allocation, new process for the packers so that they are able to do pre-packing, so that to increase their utilization rate, and also new storage system for the packers to check for expired items more efficiently. If you are interested, you can come and ask me later in the detailed solution, okay? Okay, so in order to test all those things are theories, right? Yeah, in theory they work well, they are able to make it more efficient, but in order to test the effectiveness, we have conducted a trial in sets. So the trial contains 2 experiments. One is the control experiment, where the packers just pack as per normal, what they always do. And another one is the test experiment, where they will use the solutions that we have proposed. So the results is shown here. So in the end, we achieved 19% decrease in the overall process time for one whole flight, 69% decrease in the non-value adding processes, 25% decrease in the expiry date checking process time, and 18% increase in the accuracy of identifying the expired items. So these results shows success in our project. So in conclusion, this whole project, this is how we have done. So firstly, a preliminary study of the operations and the processes before narrowing down our project scope to focus on the packing process. Second, collected data both manually and through a simulation model to analyze and gain insights. Thirdly, carry out research with literature reviews to find out the process other companies use and propose new approaches based on the system of sets. Lastly, conducted an experiment on site to trial the proposed approach. These are my team's takeaway from this project. A lot of the technical skills listed here I actually taught in ISE, such as discrete event simulation, process optimization, and inventory management. If you are interested in this area, you may want to consider joining ISE. Yeah, that's all for my sharing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Shuning, for sharing on the project, right? So I think if you all see through the various presentations earlier on, you keep hearing that we use this FlexSim simulation model. This is just one of the tools that the students actually learn in the curriculum and apply to the projects. But not to worry, okay, we are not just like getting the student to play with the software. They actually have to learn, okay, the theory behind this type of modeling, okay? What is the stochastic model assumptions behind such type of software, so that next time, okay, when they kind of like have to pick up another similar simulation software, that will be very easy, okay? Right, so I'm mindful of time, okay, and I'm really thankful for your patience sitting here for close to an hour, okay, listening to our various speakers, okay, but we also do want to give the opportunity for you to, if you have any burning questions, right? Anything you want to shout out, any comments or anything that you want to seek clarification, you can feel free to just raise your hand, and Dr. Tan and some of us will be happy to kind of like correspond with you. So would there be any questions or anything that you want to, ask? Okay. If you are shy, then of course not to worry. That's why we also have prepared a tea reception. Okay, so of course I'm also very mindful after listening to Shuning's presentation about the expiry date of the food. Okay, so before the thing expire, we better conclude, and then hopefully you can take use of the next hour or so outside, other than the eating, right, to find out more from the students, from the staff, and from the professors. Okay, our head of department, I actually noted that she's behind. So this Professor Ng Su Hui, she's head of department of ISEM department. Okay, so also feel free to go and talk to her. Okay, don't be scared of her. Okay, right. So if not, okay, thank you very much once again for coming for this session on IC major program. Right, so we'll end the session now and then adjourn outside for our tea reception. Thank you very much. Thank you.